2D Mario the game on the Wii of Nintendo's. We played New Super Mario Bros. DS backwards earlier this year, and now it's time to finish the rest of them. The only rule is we have to complete the levels backwards and try to beat Bowser, and we're allowed to use cannon to skip ahead if we get stuck anywhere. I got help from Meatball132 to get this mod to work, so a big shout out to him. I also ask everyone to check out Skawo's channel, a good friend of Meatball's. The link is in the description. So with that said, smash that subscribe button and take a seat. We're in for a wild ride. Immediately, I love that this first level was a breeze. I basically just sped ran and got myself back into the groove of this game, and finished 1-1 with no sweat. I did run into one issue at the end of 1-2. I wasn't able to reach this pipe. Lucky for me, a Goomba was waddling his way over, so I just jumped on his head and was able to get up and clear the level. Something about these Hammer Bros were really annoying to get around, but after a couple of dumb deaths, I managed to finish 1-3. For 1 tower, oh no. Oh god, we're stuck already? And we can't even get to a cannon! Oh, I hate to say this, but this might be the fastest I've ever had to call a challenge impossible. Haha, got him! It's New Super Mario Bros. You know we've got that pocket alternate exit. By using Yoshi in 1-3, we can flutter jump to the very top, and this takes us to a hidden pipe. After clearing the stage, you'll unlock this cannon, which lets us skip our way to World 5. Is it just me, or do we have to use this cannon every time we play this game? Moving on to World 5 though. On the second screen of 5-1, there was a vine that was pretty far away. I jumped at it and got pretty close, but it didn't seem close enough to grab. So I climbed up to the top entrance, and it turns out I can't enter this pipe. So I tried again from the bottom with more speed and a spin jump, and I was good to go. The rest of 5-1 just required a lot of careful jumps, but it was nothing too shabby. Besides getting hit immediately from this wiggler, 5-2 is a cakewalk. And the same can be said for 5-3. Then for 5 tower, Of course there's another roadblock right at the beginning. And this time, there is nowhere for us to turn. There's an alt exit in 5 Ghost House, but we can't go there yet. So, for real this time, it is not possible to beat New Super Mario Bros. Wii backwards. But we're not done yet, of course. Let's head back to World 1 and figure out which levels can be done. About halfway through 1-4, there were 2 pipes perpendicular and blowing air, which basically trapped me since I couldn't swim fast enough. So I tried the level again with a penguin suit, and within a couple seconds I went through the pipes. It's kinda crazy just how fast you swim with this suit on. 1-5 was a breeze, as was 1-6, but 1 castle pits us to a quick stop. I don't know what it is with the castles in this game, but this spinning wheel is impossible to get around. The lava at the bottom is instant death, and there's no gap at the top to go around. I even tried this as Mini Mario, and while I got farther, there's just no way. And that's all of World 1. So far, the only impossible levels have been towers or castles. On to World 2, 2-1 was really easy, and so was 2-2 up until the halfway point. I fell down this pit only for a platform to slowly push me up. This platform doesn't go back down, and I can't seem to get around this part. I busted out the propeller mushroom and tried to fly over, but it wouldn't let me, deeming this level unbeatable. 2-3 was a little annoying because the plant's fireballs kind of stayed on the screen for the whole level, but you could beat it still. For 2 tower, I want you to take a wild guess. Will we get stopped by a tower level once again? Congratulations if you said yes! Tune in next time to NSMB Wii Tower levels backwards to vote on if any of these levels will ever be beatable. On to 2-4, I was being a big dumb, and we'll get to why in a second. The stage gimmick is that wind blows every 5 or so seconds, and this is really annoying when the wind blows against you. I got to this part with a huge gap with seemingly no way to get around. With Propeller Mario, I could wall jump off this wall, but I didn't need to get up here. I had to get to the other side on the left. So I switched to Mini Mario and tried this jump dozens of times. The closest I could ever get was wall jumping off this wall, but that was about it before the wind started to blow me away. And then I came to a revelation. I can walk back down the ladder. I honestly thought it was inaccessible because it was underneath this platform, but nope, you can actually use it. Once I learned that, 2-4 was more than doable. 2-5 was pretty simple, but with 2-6, you can't make it very far since this is an auto-scroller that requires a spinning block to get through it. Jeez, there's so many levels so far that just aren't beatable, and now we're at yet another castle and... Oh, wait a minute. Is that a door? Oh my god, we can actually beat a castle level! The curse has been lifted! This one is actually possible! On to World 3 though, 3-1 was a piece of cake. The same goes for 3-2, but I did need a propeller mushroom to get over this jump. 3-3 was nothing to sweat over, but 3 Ghost House doesn't go so well since we're stuck at the bottom of a pit we can't escape. We normally start at the top and a platform slowly falls down, but now we're just kinda stuck down here. And then for 3 Tower, like usual, we're stuck near the beginning. This is beyond frustrating. But thankfully, 3-4 was doable, and 3-5 was dumb because you just fall down and win. 3 Castle unfortunately has a snake block section at the end, so I have no way of getting past even the first section. Big surprise there. I guess let's just hope World 4 serves us better. So next was World 4, and 4-1 was doable as long as you had the propeller to get past this blowing pipe. 4-2 as well as 4-3 were simple, but I did have a couple tricky jumps to pull off. Like here, I needed to perfectly triple jump to get up here, but otherwise it wasn't much trouble. For 4 Tower, seriously, why do I even bother trying the castle levels? Almost all of them have been failures. 4-4 was extremely annoying because the bloopers pop up in some of the worst spots possible, but with careful swimming, you can complete this one. After a couple rooms in 4 Ghost House, I opened a door to only be sealed by a bunch of brick blocks. There is an alt exit in this level, but I have no way of getting to it, and of course, there's no way for me to break these bricks either. Lucky for us though, 4-5 was easy enough, and surprisingly, so is 4 Castle, and even 4 Airship. That right there wraps up World 4, so back to World 5. 5-4 starts off as an absolute banger though. Immediately, it looks like a dead end because there's no raft to take me across the poison, but there's also enemies falling from the sky or pipes, which means I can theoretically bounce off them. With the propeller suit, I got to work and started to figure out the patterns. The bob-ohms fell about every 7 seconds, but at first I just tried to avoid the bob-ohms. I tried to jump again with a bit of a running start, and I almost got to the bob-ohm that time. I just need a bit more of a boost before using the propeller jump, so the solution was to bounce off the first bob-ohm, soar across the poison, and propel at the very last second. This was easier said than done since most of the time I couldn't get this stupidly precise jump off the first bob-ohm, but eventually I pulled this off. What? I got that close? Alright, so I've been at this for a long time, and I only just realized that I should have switched to the mini mushroom a long time ago. The problem with this is that it's much harder to time bouncing off enemies. I did try a blind jump to see how good he'd be, and sure enough, I was able to bypass that question mark block, which means I can definitely reach it if I bounce off a bob-ohm. Before doing that though, I wanted to see if a wall jump would help, since that would not only give me more initial height, but also a bit more speed. Yes! Oh, thank God that worked. I knew I could get there somehow. The next jump was much easier. I just need to spin jump a bunch in the air and I made it to the POW block. After that was another very careful jump to another question mark block, and I knew I was getting close to that raft. I also discovered I can't cheese the rest of this level because you can't go around these giant vines, so I literally have to do this from the bottom. Another careful jump and another question mark block landed on. I wanted to see how much farther I had to go, so I did this massive jump, and lo and behold, the raft actually isn't too much farther. But on the way to that raft, you may have noticed that I am now out of question mark blocks to land on, which makes this 10 times harder than it already is. My only idea now was to bounce off the Goomba on the left and land on the top. And by some goddamn miracle, I managed to hit the Goomba after hundreds of attempts and land safely on the top. How the f***? So are we close enough to spin jump to the raft now? No, we're still not close enough. The only thing I can do is bounce off a Koopa Troopa and hope that works. I'm honestly still kind of shook after doing that, but yeah, you know, 5 Ghost House, that was a breeze to complete. 5-5 is also an auto-scroller with enemies for platforms, and it's impossible without a propeller suit. After this first jump, there really isn't anything too terribly hard to mention. Although this other jump further along is really scary because we have to land on this P block and there's not much room for error. And then with 5 Castle, it's all a horizontally based room, so you can actually complete this one. World 5 went pretty well, all things considered, so let's move over to World 6. 6-1 was a good start as it wasn't really challenging to finish, and the same for 6-2, 6-3, and 6-4. But of course, 6 Tower has another roadblock right at the beginning. In other words, the sky is blue and you've already smashed the like button. It's just how it is. Moving to 6-5, there's nothing to note here, but 6-6 was very claustrophobic. I forgot to bring a fire flower, so I just slowly swam in the water while avoiding cheap-cheeps and barely seeing anything. 6 castle was also pretty easy, and so is 6 airship, so on to World 7. And we started off strong with an easy level from 7-1 and 7-2. However, 7-3 wasn't in the same regard. I had to make a particularly tricky propeller jump in which I had to propel as high as possible, and by doing so, I could barely float down to this green mushroom. But once I hit the checkpoint, it was all over. I tried propelling from the top and bottom, and there was absolutely nothing close for me to land on. But 7 tower was a nice break because I just had to fall twice, and that was it. And then 7 ghost house leaves us trapped at the bottom of a massive pit. You know, I'm just noticing that this is a recurring theme, and that's kind of disturbing. 7-4 had the weirdest death I've ever seen. When I left this red pipe, there was no ground underneath and I died. I gotta admit, I never would have seen that coming. But with a propeller mushroom, you can easily survive this fall. It's just super interesting to have an obstacle like that. 7-5 was easy as pie, and so was 7-6. 7 castle has some promise up until the halfway point. Once again, some platforms are blocking the path, pitting us to a stop. But now on to World 8. 8-1 was not the greatest start ever, considering the poison gas cloud cuts us off almost right away. That's where 8-2 comes in, with a smooth sailing level, and 8-3 was no different. But of course, 8 tower stopped us in our tracks. Yet again, another day, another dumb castle. And 8-4 isn't much better. At the very end, we're stuck at the bottom of the stage with no way of getting up top. But look at that! 8-5 is a pipe that we can't get into because there's no ground underneath it, which is just lovely. Unlucky for us, 8-6 traps us at the top of the floor. Good lord, this is 4 levels in a row we can't finish. Oh, but 8-7, that's the snake block level. And of course, we can't play that backwards. And for 8 airship, we need the screw to open up this path, so rip on this as well. So boy oh boy, final castle time. Will this one be impossible like every other level from this freaking challenge? Well, believe it or not, you can actually do this one. The level itself is super short, so there really isn't much blocking our way. Now that we know we can make it to Bowser, there's one more world to go, the elusive World 9. 9-1 was a strong beginning since it's not too difficult to get through. 9-2 was definitely harder, and it was longer than I remember it being, but you can easily complete it. And for 9-3, as long as you have the propeller mushroom, it's no problem at all. 9-4 was really terrifying around the end because of all the bob-oms, but with careful movement, it's nothing to sweat over. 9-5 seemed like it'd be okay, until we ran into a roadblock about halfway through. Big sad. But 9-6 didn't really turn up the heat. And believe it or not, 9-7 was immensely easier than it usually is. I'm not really sure why, but I knocked this out on my first try. And on to our final level, 9-8. I kept getting hit by the king bills, but I eventually figured out ways to avoid enough of them to be able to survive. And with that, you can beat 9-8. But what about the secret level 9-9? Well, to get there, you just have to pause, point your cursor at every item twice, back out, hit the plus button, go to the bottom, and then to the top, and then the game will fade away. 3 seconds later, you'll come back to an epic Audible sponsorship. You've heard of them. You already know it's the best place to get your audiobook fill. And they don't just have thousands of titles to pick from, but you can also listen to podcasts, wellness programs, A-list comedy, and Audible exclusives you won't find anywhere else. And of course, there's the Audible Plus catalog. This catalog offers thousands of titles you can stream or download to listen to offline. This is included with the membership, and this amazing catalog offers members access to an unparalleled selection of audio entertainment. The app is free, and you can listen to your content across devices without losing your spot. I've been listening to Blood, Sweat, and Pixels while working on videos like this one, and it's definitely helped keep me focused. The book has 10 chapters, each chapter focusing on a different AAA title, including ones like Uncharted 4, The Witcher 3, and Dragon Age Inquisition as an example. The entire premise is talking about the development, or the troubled development in these games. Get a free audiobook at audible.com/Nathaniel, or text Nathaniel at 500-500. The link is in the description below, so go check it out. Wow, that backwards challenge was abysmal. Out of 77 stages, 23 were impossible. That's 29%. Almost 1/3 of the levels couldn't be done. That has to be the worst luck we've ever had. All I can really say is I hope New Super Mario Bros. 2 goes better, because that's coming up very soon. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time.